Hey guys, welcome back. I apologize for how I sound. I'm getting my butt kicked by a horrible springtime cold, so I apologize for what you guys have to listen to today. So I'm making a vintage style tattoo. It's going to be a flower, and I'm just going to kind of go with the flow and see how it turns out for us all. Simple flowers. Make sure you keep those lines there and make sure that they're all similar size. Like I'm not using a ruler or anything. They look like coffee beans now. That's a good way to explain it. Little coffee beans. I'm a fan of coffee. And these are little diamonds. And we're just going to keep adding on. We're going to do a half circle around the diamond. And then we're going to do other petals that come off of there and then leaves. And you will see. I'm doing it all in pencil right now because I don't really know what I'm doing. And we're just going to go with the flow and see what we end up with. So far, looking pretty good. Now, vintage style tattoos, like traditional ones, they're very bright and colorful. Lots of lines and dots and flowers and all sorts of fun stuff and cool leaves. So I'm a big fan of vintage tattoos. I think they're gorgeous and I would definitely love to get one day. So I'm just adding on some little petals. Like I said, we're making it up as we go along. So correct me if I'm explaining it to you in the wrong way. These are going to be leaves. There's a lot of gradient coloring, like it goes from one shade to the next. So we're going to be using sponges today, but I hate to tell you we're not using any gold or any glitter. But I promise the other one that I'm posting this week, the other video, will have gold and glitter times 2. So you can get your gold and glitter fix with the next video coming out this week. So once again, you guys, I'm sorry for how I sound. You might want to turn the volume down and just watch what I'm doing. I'm going to add these dots here, but I change it up once I put the black paint on. That's the best part about it, is I can erase all my pencil mistakes after. But I'm going to outline this all in black first. This is my fine lining brush. It's just an old brush that I've cut the bristles off of, or the hairs, and I've made it easier to work with when it comes to the stuff that I like to do. So there's a tutorial on my channel if you're interested in fixing up your brushes a little bit like this. I was never able to find like even expensive brushes that I could work with properly, so this is my trick. It might work for you. Also, guys, don't take a sip of wine or any alcoholic beverage every time you hear me say tutorial. You guys are hilarious, but that could be dangerous because sometimes I catch myself saying it way more than what I thought I did when I hear it back. So I do not recommend you making it into a drinking game. But today, just for those of you who are, I'm not going to say that word very often. I'm going to say video. All right. Now that it's all dry and I've erased all my pencil marks, you can pause it to see what I've done if I went too fast there for you. But like I was saying, there's a lot of gradient. So I'm starting with this bright yellow, but I'm adding pumpkin orange to it. And I'm going to make it so that that half circle that I'm going around, that's darker orange, and then when you get closer to the outer part of the petal, it gets lighter and turns into a yellow. Now I'm going to just let you know that afterwards, when you're done all your blending, you're going to want to go back over those black lines again to clean it up, because it does get, you know, nobody's perfect. We are going to go outside the lines. So just clean it up with black paint afterwards. You guys are amazing. I just want to say to those of you who have been helping answer questions that people ask and I haven't had a chance to get to them yet, you guys are my rock. You know how much time you save me when you respond to someone and you give them an answer that I would have given them. It's amazing that I have such a great supportive rock family, and I love you guys. You guys are awesome. If you see someone who's struggling, or they're like, how do you find that glitter, or how do you get that brush so small, just tell them. You're going to help them out. I'm adding teal blue here in these diamonds. And I usually only need one coat of this brand of teal paint. I love it. It's Craftsmart. It's got a nice consistency and a nice thick coat. I love it. We're going to be adding some classic green to our leaves. And I'm going to use Martha Stewart sponge, or it's actually called I believe, a sponge dauber. And it's just a little stick with a sponge on the end of it, and it just helps to blend those colors in really nicely. When I'm blending a small space, I use my brush, but when it's a bigger space like a leaf, I can use one of the smaller sponges. You can just buy sponges and cut them to the size that you need them to be as well. Sponging stuff is messy though, so don't expect your hands to be clean. I get in a real mess when I sponge stuff. So I'm going to keep the lighter green on the right side of the leaf and the darker green on the left. And I'm going to go over and do 2 coats of the dark green on that side so that you can see it really well, the big change between the half of the leaf. Because a lot of vintage tattoos have really cool leaves, and that's one of my favorite part. They're really easy to draw, but it's all the coloring that makes it look so much better. The way they have shaded it, or added just little lines to one side, it just changes it completely. But take a look on Pinterest and Google for vintage tattoos, and there are some beauties out there. Definitely. Now I'm just going over the spots that I've blended, and I'm fixing anything. If I went outside the lines, and you can fix stuff if using white paint as well if you need to, on the inside anyway, depending on what color rock you're using. But where you're going to be painting, you can fix any black lines that went off in a different direction, or say you dripped a little bit of paint on a leaf. You can easily paint over that white and let it dry and start over. I do a lot of back and forth with like gold and black and fixing lines, and if I went outside the line somewhere, I got to use some white paint, or I got to try and match the color of my rock because I want to keep my rock background. So it's sometimes hard, but the longer you do it, the better you get at staying in the lines. And as long as you're not rushing it, it will all look amazing in the end. Now I'm cutting those diamonds in half, putting a little line down the middle, making sure that I have my next petals lined in properly. We're going to be putting some pink in that center flower. Now I'm going over the left side of my leaves with a second coat of that dark classic green, and keeping the right sides the light green with the lines on it. And like I said, take a look at some vintage tattoos and look at the leaves. They're amazing. Like they make it every time. They just look so nice and different. This is looking very colorful now. So I just want to let you guys know, go to my channel. Make sure you hit the alarm bell next to the subscribe. Once you've subscribed, hit the alarm bell so that you are notified as soon as I upload a new tutorial, because sometimes I'm going to surprise you and I'm not even going to warn you anywhere that I'm making a new one, and poof, it's going to be there. on your long weekend or whatever. So just make sure you are on top of it all and you click that bell so that you know. And share. Make sure you share. If you think that you're getting something positive out of painting with me, share it, people. It's going to help a lot of people. It's going to make lots of people proud of their work, and this is very therapeutic. So, you know what? You're not going to hurt anybody by sharing. This is looking so colorful. Watch while I throw my paint. So I've used a bright Christmas red paint on the right petals. Now those white ones there, I'm going to fill them in with berry whine. So it's like a dark, deep red, and it's going to look really nice next to that bright red. You don't have to use the same coloring as me. I'm just using like traditional colors just to kind of give it that vintage feel. With this berry whine as well, I don't need to put a second coat. It's very thick. Now I'm going to mix a couple to make my pink, because I didn't really want like neon pink and I didn't want like baby pink. So I mixed a couple together. I will leave a list of the paint colors that I used in the description of this video. So I mixed it all together. Now I have like a bubblegum pink, and I am blending right over top of that coffee bean, right over top, because we're going to get it back there in a second once this pink paint is done. And I'm only going to go up halfway, or a little over halfway. We're going to like make it like a gradient from pink to white. The lighter part going to the outside of the petals, obviously. So now I'm just blending in a little bit of white with my blending brush just to make sure that the pink and white are nice and blended together. And the glare off this right now, you can't really tell how pink it is, but you'll see soon. Also, once it's resined, all of these colors like burst out at you. So you'll notice how bright it is once you see it sealed up. So I have blended. Now I'm going back over, and we've worked our way into the middle. And I'm going to outline those coffee beans again, because we still want to see those because we like coffee. They're just going to be pink coffee beans once we bring them back out. My coffee just happens to be extremely cold. I hope you guys love this. I think vintage tattoos are so much fun. I plan on doing the vintage sparrows, like the two of them. That would be fun. There's our coffee bean. When I tilt it just a little bit, you can really see all the color. Now I'm going in around that half circle, and I'm doing 5 little lines, just little ones. Try and make them like close to the same thickness and close to the same length. I start in the middle to 2 on either side, and then 2 more on either side of those. And like I said, just a little line. Ooh, look at that color. Looks awesome. So we're done with that. I'm going to sign my initials, RM. Some people are like, what is your name? RM. Now I am going to seal this, so you're going to see it all shiny. I'm going to change the background here for a second on a darker background. So you can just sit there and admire the brightness of this right now. It looks amazing. And here it is, all sealed up with resin. I honestly can't even tell you how bright and beautiful this is. It doesn't show up very well how gorgeous it is. But if you're interested in doing a vintage style tattoo, rock with me. Here's your video. It is gorgeous. I love you guys. Thank you so much for always coming to join me and paint with me. I love seeing all your work.